In the opening scene of Love is in the Air, we see a lady, Michelle. She quickly enters her part mentally and places a call across to a local airline. Next, we see a seaplane named Foxtrot November, and its pilot Dana. She is speaking with a man named Jeff at Fullerton Airways, informing him that she has dropped the mail and is heading back to base. Jeff acknowledges her and informs her that her next tour group has been waiting for 20 minutes. Dana assures him that she will soon be there, only for her to get a distress call from Michelle, who informs her about her dog, who has been bitten by a snake. They need to see the doctor immediately. Dana assures her that she will be there soon. When she informs Jeff about the latest development, he is not pleased because they have paying clients. However, it's an emergency. Despite being short on fuel, Dana heads over to Michelle's place. She flies them successfully. When Dana gets back to base, she tries to compliment Jeff, attempting to deviate from the topic, but he refuses to be carried away. He advises her to stop putting remote air support over paying clients. A colleague, Nikki, who is their mechanic and resident technician, is shocked to hear that they just lost another flight. Jeff lets Dana know that they are currently stretched thin and can't afford to lose their paying clients over the detours Dana keeps making. The message he is trying to pass is that if they want to continue flying, then they need to focus on profit. Dana reminds Jeff, who happens to be her dad, that the reason her mom started Fullerton Airways was because of remote air support. She assures him that she will fly at night to make up for it. Her dad opposes this suggestion by letting her know that she needs more time for herself. But Dana is strong-headed and quotes her mom by saying, "If you want something done, you've got to do it yourself." She even makes her dad and Nikki say it before leaving for some ground checks. Her dad can't help but mention that she is a lot like her mother Clara. In the next scene, we see the city of London. We also see a man, William, dressing up and talking about Fullerton Airways not doing well. He nervously practices his speech as he dresses in front of a mirror. William gets into the office building, exhales, and walks into his dad's office. His dad reveals that his team leader says he is doing a good job, but his dad remembers he is stronger in humanities than math, so he hopes the team leader is not just sugarcoating things. William nervously makes a joke out of it. Before speaking on the matter of the day, he appreciates his father for allowing him to work with him, but his dad cut him short. He is a busy man, so William starts to show his research. He mentions that Fullerton Airways has not been doing well, but they have some salvageable assets such as aeronautical equipment, plans, and real estate. If they can sell all these assets, they will be able to clear their debt holdings. His father is surprised and impressed that his son has done a strong job. He gives him the order to take care of it by going to Fullerton. This comes as a shock to William, especially as Fullerton is in Australia. It is a long way from home. William tries convincing his father not to send him, but he insists. That way, they will indeed know that they have done their due diligence by inspecting their operations and going over their books before selling. William asks why he and his father reveal that he plans to recommend him for the position of junior director the following year. William is shocked and super happy. His father believes it is time to take on some real responsibility, and he must demonstrate that he can do what's necessary by going to Australia. That way, in a week, he can show it to the board. Before leaving, his father reminds him that this mission is important, so he urges him not to disappoint him. Back in Australia, Dana is throwing darts with Nikki at a bar. A guy named Heath joins them, and they get talking. He mentions how Dana used to have fun. The way he talks about the memory makes Nikki suggest they get back together. However, Dana argues that she did not have time for love. Nikki advises her not to dedicate her entire life to work. But Dana will not be convinced to relax about work. She is bent on keeping Fullerton Airways the way her mom wanted, and would stop at nothing to actualize that. Nikki gets her point, but wants her to experience life while pursuing her dream. In the next scene, Jeff gets to the airport and is quite happy to be there. On getting in, he meets Nikki. While checking what's on the docket for that day on the computer, he screamed out Nikki's name in shock, making her drop her cup. What could he have seen? Meanwhile, Dana arrives at the airport and takes a leisurely stroll. She meets her dad and Nikki arranging everywhere. He informed her that they would be getting an impromptu visit from the team at ITCM Financial. They are sending someone to do an inspection. However, he has been slacking in his management duties because he got the email 3 days ago and is only just seeing it. Dana is shocked because they never hear from them. Nikki also feels the same way. Jeff nervously assures her that they are coming over for a routine check and nothing more. As they are speaking, the ferry sounds in the distance. William is here. Jeff tells Dana to go and welcome the representative, but she says she has a mail drop. Her dad believes it can wait, especially since she is the face of Fullerton Airways and should welcome their guests. He tells her that his name is Mitchell. Jeff drives her to welcome the guest. Dana sees an older guy dressed in a suit and immediately assumes he is their guest, Mr. Mitchell. She introduces herself and tells him to follow her. Even as the man keeps trying to tell her something, she won't allow him, until the man eventually gets a chance to say that he is there to visit his cousin for a few days. Then he walks away. Just then, William arrives. He tells her to address him as William and assumes she is an assistant. She reveals she is the chief pilot, and they shake hands awkwardly. His first impression of her makes her slightly offended. On their drive to the base, Dana wonders why he would take a long flight from London for a quick pop-in. However, William claims he simply wants to see how they are doing. When they get to the airways, William is not quite impressed. Jeff and Nikki are outside as the welcome team, even as the N in Fullerton keeps falling off. William meets Jeff, who also introduces Nikki. The whole situation is quite awkward. Jeff proceeds to take him on a tour of the facility, but warns him that the air conditioning is broken. But Nikki is waiting for some replacement parts. Dana calls out that she is going for some checks on Harriet, but he discreetly signals that she should follow them. She has no choice but to follow them, while Nikki compliments William on being hot. In the workplace, William can't help but see how rustic the place is. In their defense, William claims they like to keep things down to earth there. Just then, he slips and some books fall. William and Dana immediately rush to pick up the book, and they momentarily stare into each other's eyes before standing up awkwardly. Jeff explains that he and his late wife set up the place in the early 90s, and their mode of operation is on the grassroots level. Regardless, their customers have always appreciated their mode of operation. Suddenly, Nikki asks William if he runs a business with his wife, girlfriend, or even boyfriend. This comes as a shock to him, and he answers awkwardly that he is single, while Dana suspiciously clears her throat. This is her trying to signal to Nikki to stop asking such questions. William asks more questions about their mode of operation. They are registered as a predominant tour company, however they also run a remote air support. Jeff tries to downplay their operation as a remote air support, not wanting William to know that they do more of that, and not acting as a tour company like they should. So he states that they are reevaluating that side of the business. Without hesitation, Dana mentions that remote air support is the soul of their airways. She even claims that they've always done it, and always will. William then reveals that he did a preliminary check on their account before coming, and realizes that the government subsidizes the fuel and their expenses for those flights. But since they do more remote air support, even though they have just one plane, they do not make the expected profit. Dana believes that there's more to life than making profits. However, William lets her know that it is a priority. This makes Dana flare up, asking the purpose of his inspection to their facility. Her father quickly steps in, asking her to show William around. Dana shows William around, and even explains why her mother named the airplane Harriet, which impresses him. It appears that her mom was an aviation enthusiast, and William states that the apple didn't fall far from the tree. Looking at the seaplane, he believes only a crazy person would fly it around. This makes her tell him to go with her to make a delivery. Not what he expected, because he is a little bit scared, but he obliges her anyway. All the while, her dad and Nikki have been looking at them. Nikki is happy they will be flying together. William is very tense as the flight begins. Soon they are flying, and Dana has to assure him that all is well even though the plane would soon be 52. Later she gives him a beautiful view of a school of fish, and he is amazed by the beautiful scenery. Eventually they get to Parker's Bay for the delivery. Dana makes the delivery every 2 weeks, and without it, the people there would be cut off. William gets off the plane. One of the people there initially thinks he is Dana's boyfriend, but she reveals he is there for inspection. The customer proudly states that Dana and her company are doing a great job and should get a raise. William soon sees some kids playing ball, and he joins them. Dana watches him in amazement. Soon, they head back. Later, Dana escorts William to get his apartment key from Heath, and she leaves once they get there. Heath catches William watching her leave, and tells her he has no idea how tenacious she is. On getting to his apartment, he is disappointed because of the long flight of stairs he has to climb to get there. On getting inside, William receives a call from his dad. Immediately, he starts narrating how the people of Fullerton are close-knit, and their community spirit is strong. However, his dad is not thrilled and warns him to focus on the purpose of his trip, which is to review their finances, shut the place down, and get home. He assures his dad that he will. In the next scene, William arrives at the airport and meets Jeff. When he complains of heat, Jeff advises him to lose his tie and loosen up a bit. He reminds him that he is in the tropics. Jeff shows him his desk for his review, but he is not yet done with the financial report. Seems he is stalling though. Dana joins them, but is disappointed that Nikki is not in, which means she will have another late start, and end up delivering some first aid kits late. Suddenly, Jeff comes up with an unexpected idea. He suggests that William assists her in making the drop, since he is still getting the financial report prepared. They are both shocked by the suggestion, but they have no choice but to go with the flow. However, just as Dana and William fly off, Jeff watches them and he is joined by Nikki. It appears the two are trying to match them, based on Nikki's suggestion. She thinks this will be good for Dana, as she never hangs out with anyone new. Well, not just that. She thinks it's also good to make friends with people who have money. We will see if it works out. Meanwhile, while flying, Dana comments on how William is faring better than the previous flight. They get talking about how different their business life is, and she wonders if he loved calculations as a kid. But William reveals that he was made to like it, since his dad owned the business. She claims his story sounds familiar. This makes him stare at a picture of her and her mom. They make flying jokes and seem to be getting along. Suddenly, the plane develops an engine failure and William starts panicking. She radioes the base to inform them of their situation, and it was agreed she had to make an emergency landing, but stay in contact. While panicking, William reveals he has a fear of flying. Dana successfully lands the plane on water, and William heaves sighs of relief. They find themselves on a remote island, and it will be hours before anyone can pick them up. Dana is bent on making her delivery in time, and can't deal with that. So she gets to work on the plane with William, who has no choice, even though he knows nothing about planes. While she is working, she sees him change his clothes, and stares for a short while. Eventually the plane starts working again, and they can fly again. William appreciates her efforts. In the next scene, while they are having a drink, Dana makes fun of how scared William was during the incident. But Nikki comes to his aid by saying that he is just recently on the job, and it's too early to be fixing planes. She even jokingly proposes that after his financial review, he should come to work as her assistant. Later, Dana and William get up at the same time and bump into themselves. It's quite awkward. Dana goes to the bar, and Heath doesn't fail to mention the way she is looking at William. In her defense, Dana claims she is just trying to be a good host. Meanwhile, William reads a text from his dad asking about the update. He wants to know if they are clear to shut Fullerton Airways. Even though he is the mastermind of this mission, William is now changing his mind. He has gotten to see the communal spirit, and what it looks like to do what one loves. He feels sad. Before Dana leaves the bar, Heath advises her not to screw up whatever she has with William. He even refers to him as her new boyfriend. When Dana gets back to the table, they watch the news and see that a storm is coming. William finally gets back to the table, and Dana notices his countenance. She asks what is wrong, but he claims all is well. Later, William and Jeff talk about sports, and William reveals that even though his father has good seats, he doesn't even go to the games. They are shocked, but don't dwell on the issue. After finishing his drink, Jeff decides to call it a night. He tells William that all the needed paperwork will be there in the morning. After he leaves, Dana gets up to leave, but Nikki stops her. She tells her to walk William home. When they try to refuse, she insists, and claims that it's dangerous out there and he needs a guide. So he accepts that he needs a guide. As they walk back to William's apartment, they talk about the town, about how everybody knows everyone's business, and how people will assume what they don't know about you. Dana also talks about the advantages of living there, such as no pollution, traffic, and a peaceful way of living. She also reveals that their home is in another place, but they are living in Fullerton because of her mom. The airways they operate now was her dream, and she is so protective of it because it is the last part of her mother that she still has. However, even though her mom is gone, she and her dad have never felt alone, because living in Fullerton is like living with family. Dana asks about what it feels like for him to grow up in a big city and be next in line to his dad's business empire. He reveals that it's quite a boring life, because his dad doesn't have time for anything social, and working for him didn't change him either. This shocks Dana, and she jokes about him taking Nikki up on her offer. They stop as William stares at the beautiful starry night sky. He is fascinated, because they don't look the same as the sky he is used to. Soon they lay on the ground, and Dana teaches him about the stars. While they are talking, William gets scared when he hears the sound of a koala. Dana laughs at him for being so scared, and realizes that Nikki was right about him needing her there. In the next scene, they get to his apartment. He appreciates her for taking him home. She tells him to have fun with Jeff tomorrow, since she is making drops. However, he offers to go with her on the drop, and she is surprised. So they agree to fly together. In the next scene, Dana and William arrive at the base, and they begin to fly to go about their delivery. Meanwhile, William's dad is worried, and he asks his assistant Mary if she has seen his son. But she hasn't, and she promises to let him know when she does. Meanwhile, William is quite busy helping out in Fullerton. Dana is also happy to have him there. They have now gotten closer, and at one time they even play in the water. He eventually helps her get back on schedule. After arriving from one of their deliveries, Jeff calls him to come and play some ball. However, his father is getting really angry that all his calls are going to voicemail. He angrily leaves a message for him. He wants to know what is happening, for him to suddenly disappear, and also the boards are not impressed so far. Unknown to him, William is having the time of his life at Fullerton. He is living as he always wished, to be with family, and have fun. After the game, he is talking with Dana when his father's call comes in. The board is meeting in 2 days, and he hasn't heard from him. William decides to come out clean to his dad. He tells him that he has been meaning to call and inform him that he came to a rushed conclusion concerning Fullerton Airways. Meanwhile, Nikki has gotten some parts to repair the air conditioning system. She feels it will make William happy. Back to William's call, his father is disappointed upon hearing him admit that he rushed his assessment. This is when his father reveals that he had his team verify his figures, and he knows that his assessment was right. This makes him demand to know what he is not telling him. Left with no choice, William has to come clean. Unknown to him, Nikki walks in on him as he is talking. He confesses that after meeting the team, he has had a change of mind about them. However, Jeff sees the change in weather and realizes that a storm is coming. Back to the phone call, Nicky listens as William begs his father not to shut down Fullerton Airways. His dad won't listen and reminds him that he has always warned him not to attach emotions to business because it makes it harder to accomplish his missions. Nicky quietly leaves in shock. Before ending the call, his father tells him to do his job or don't bother returning to work. He is now in a difficult situation. When he gets back in, he meets the crew with angry faces and immediately knows that they have overheard his call. Dana angrily accuses him of deceiving them all along, when his real aim is to shut them down. William mentions that he intends to stop the plan, but Nicky says what she hears sounds like a done deal. He tries to assure them, but Dana won't have it. She asks about her father's whereabouts. Suddenly, Nicky calls their attention as they are arguing. She tells them that a cyclone is approaching. In the next scene, Jeff is seen coordinating people at the bar area. Meanwhile, Dana tries calling him from base, but it keeps going to voicemail. She panics and makes up her mind to go in search of her father. William asks what he can do to help, but she tells him to stay out of her way and not talk to her. Right outside, the water is flooding. In the next scene, Jeff has fallen and is in pain. Dana keeps searching for him. While William stands helplessly, Dana keeps searching all around, but still can't find her father. Jeff has managed to sit, but his leg is hurting badly. After a while, Dana can't find her father. She has almost lost all hope when she sees William bringing her dad. After getting inside safely, she thanks him. Suddenly she remembers that they are not on good terms, so she starts insulting him again. This surprises her father, who wonders what is happening. Nicky tells him to reveal the truth. Dana eventually tells him that William's company is shutting them down. This surprises Jeff. He feels betrayed. William tries to apologize and promises that when he gets back to London, he will recommend to the board that they keep Fullerton Airways open and operational. He begs Dana to believe him, but she won't. She mentions that rich people like him don't care about people like them. When she begins to question why he would care about them, he shouts that it's because of her. This statement makes Dana freeze. She can't seem to process it, and she quietly sits. William reveals to her, and everyone, that they changed his perspective on life because they made him realize that people still care about people and who they love. It is not the same as where he grew up, because everyone just wants their cut. Even though he never wanted to come a week ago, and now he doesn't want to leave. He promised them that he will fix the situation. Dana keeps looking as the storm rages. In the next scene, Dana wakes William. The storm is finally over. On getting outside, they discover that it has caused a considerable amount of damage. Luckily, the seaplane is unharmed. Soon they start getting calls for help from different locations. Jeff puts all of them to work, including William. So they load up the plane and get supplies across to the victims of the storm. William watches as he sees the people who have been affected by the storm. They fly some people to the hospital and keep getting supplies across to the different locations. After the day's work, they sit to talk. Dana acknowledges his help in making them successful, even though he believes his contribution is emotional support. Dana thinks otherwise and states that having him as a flying partner made her job easier, so she thanks him as he smiles. William sees his necktie, looks at it, and throws it in the fire. They drink at Fullerton Airways. Later that night, back at the base as they are shutting the gate, Dana holds William and believes he just may fit into their world without his tie. As they are about to kiss, her dad interrupts. He came bearing sad news. He got an email from William's dad's company informing them that they are shut down. This shocks them, and Jeff tells him that now is the time to do something to help them. William calls his dad's office, but he is in a meeting. He informs Mary to get him, because this is an emergency. When his dad answers the call, he pleads that he shouldn't sell Fullerton Airways. He promises him that he can find the money somewhere else. However, his dad has briefed the board, and the decision has been taken. William tells his dad that there's value in Fullerton. His dad reminds him that the point of him going to Fullerton was to prove to the board that he is ready, and then he ends the call. After the call, Dana walks off angrily. He apologizes to Jeff, who acknowledges that he did all he could. Jeff meets his daughter staring at her mother's picture, and he tells her she would have been proud of him. He tells her that she shouldn't take everything as her responsibility, because some things can't be fixed. He reminds her that the only thing her mom wanted was for her to be happy. In the next scene, Jeff, Dana, and Nicky start packing their stuff. They see William's broken tablet, and Nicky talks about her dad. This gives Dana an idea. She gets dressed and flies off to London. The board members are in a meeting when Dana barges in. They are all shocked, and Dana introduces herself. She is given 2 minutes. Dana explains that Fullerton Airways and their business have something in common, which is that they are a family business. After giving the history of her family business, she accepts that they need to expand to bring in more profit. She gives them all their proposal, but William's dad is not buying any of that, as they can't manage all of it alone without a professional financial expert. Suddenly, William resigns immediately to work for Fullerton Airways as a financial officer. His dad is shocked that he wants to throw away his career. William makes him realize that he came back out of respect for him, and asks that he trust him and Dana on this project. That assures him that they can accomplish this feat together, and he accepts their proposal. After the meeting, Dana excitedly hugs William. and they kiss to a new beginning. In the next scene, Fullerton Airways had been rebranded, and they have more planes. William and his father now have a more cordial relationship. Eventually, Dana finds love, while also accepting the reality of operating as a business venture.